Hey, shakalaka kapow! How's it going, old schoolers? You're kicking it old school with Russell J.S., and I'm your host, Russell J.S. Boy, this is really exciting for this video right now. You know, especially with summer blockbusters coming. Summer is right upon us. And one movie that I'm really excited for is the new Masters of the Universe. And you know what? I went down to the library to go look at a DVD that I wanted to get to commemorate. I mean, you know, I can remember like Masters of the Universe, a toy line. I mean, now bear in mind, I'm a kid from the '80s. Okay, I was born in 1978, and I can remember. Some of the things I can remember was like G.I. Joe was, headed for #1. And at that time, G.I. Joe was a 12-inch figure of a guy in a military uniform about yay high. And then when Star Wars came out in 1977, and they were making miniature figures that were about that big, Hasbro, that created G.I. Joe, they decided to go ahead and make it to where, like Star Wars had it with the Rebels against the Empire. Okay, let's go ahead and take our G.I. Joe, our Ken doll in a military outfit, and let's get multiples and give them an enemy. They all have different personalities, what they can do, and we'll give them an enemy, which is Cobra, the terrorist, a terrorist organization determined to rule the world, led by Cobra Commander and Baroness and Destro. So what happened was George Lucas saw that, went to Kenner and said, okay, oh wait, never mind. I just woke up from a nap a while ago, so you'll have to forgive me. But anyway, action figure toy lines were starting to become all the rage, where it was good versus evil instead of just one guy with a thing of weapons and a uniform. And at the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger had made it big. He became a household name with the first live action Conan the Barbarian movie. And it was an R-rated movie, and Mattel wanted to go ahead and make a toy line of it, but parents were concerned because it's an R-rated movie, it's violent, Conan kills people, and the main character, they already molded the main action figure. So Mattel, instead of it being Conan, they went ahead and made a whole new universe where it was Conan, it was barbarian, like Conan, barbarians in kind of like a sci-fi twist, almost like Conan meets Star Wars. And what was it that they came up with is Masters of the Universe. He-Man leading a group of freedom fighters on planet Eternia to go up against Skeletor and his minions to protect the secrets of Castle Grayskull, because whoever would enter Castle Grayskull and obtain the secrets would become Masters of the Universe. So Mattel went ahead and built this whole mythology around Masters of the Universe. You have the heroic warrior He-Man, who is sporting a chest harness with a shield, a battle axe, and half of a power sword. Allied, in the beginning, allied with Man-at-Arms, Tila, Stratos, Ram Man, and many other heroic heroes, along with Skeletor, who had his henchmen, which would be Beastman, Merman, Trapjaw, Triclops. That was the start, and you had the Castle Grayskull, and both sides were, one side was protecting Grayskull's secrets from the enemy, from the other side, which is the enemy. And it became a popular toy in 1982. I mean, the funny thing was the action figure of He-Man, they made him look a lot like Arnold Schwarzenegger with blonde hair. And the toy line became so popular that they came up with action, not just the, action figure set, but color forms, storybooks. I mean, DC published a limited mini-series. DC Comics, they published a limited mini-series, and where Superman landed on Eternia and fought with He-Man to stop Skeletor from getting into Castle Grayskull. But what happened was these action figures would come with a mini comic along with the accessories. And here it is right here. You know, look at this. I got the mini comic collection right here. Not only did I find a love for comic books, but these helped me learn how to read at a young age. But it had a cartoon. I mean, almost throughout the 80s, He-Man was popular among all the other action figure sets that would come around at the time. Even in 1987, the year of Lost Boys, and God, 87, I was 9 years old. Lost Boys, Lethal Weapon, and Silverhawks, Thundercats. They made a live action because the popularity of the toy was kind of waning, so they had to go ahead and act fast. So they decided that they were going to get with Canon Film Group, who was associated with Warner Brothers at the time, which they would do Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, and a lot of Chuck Norris movies as well at that time. And then they came up with Masters of the Universe, the motion picture, starring Dolph Lundgren as He-Man and Frank Langella as Skeletor, Chelsea Field as Teela, John Cypher as Man-at-Arms, and then they would introduce a new character named Gwildor, played by the late Billy Barty. It fared okay at the box office. It is today a cult classic, but the one thing I'm excited about, I mean, the toy line did kind of fade into obscurity for a while. It became unpopular, but a lot of diehards, a lot of old schoolers, such as myself, that were big into the toy, we were wanting more for nostalgia. So they came out in 1990 with the New Adventures of He-Man, which didn't go over so well. So He-Man kind of disappeared for a while, and then by 2002. He-Man was back with an all-new animated series and an all-new toy line, except looked all different. And that kind of faded out a little bit too through the 2000s. But now in June 5th, 2026, the one thing I'm excited about, and I don't know about you, is they're coming out with an all-new Masters of the Universe live-action movie. I've seen the trailer for it a dozen times, and I was looking at it it's everything I remember about the cartoon. But the whole idea of this video is I want to go over the original OG live-action Masters of the Universe. Now, directed by Gary Goddard, starring Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren was fresh after playing Ivan Drago in Rocky IV. And I can remember very well, without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this bad Oscar, shall we? See, I'm a little tired, folks. I just woke up from a nap. So what happened was they decided to make a live action movie, and I remember reading about it. I remember seeing the trailer for it. I remember they were interviewing Dolph Lundgren. I didn't know who Dolph Lundgren was at the time until my parents told me he was the Russian from Rocky IV, Ivan Drago, the guy that killed Apollo Creed. And I can remember at first thinking, what? The guy that killed Apollo is going to be He-Man? And, it's like a bad guy playing a hero. But, in many ways, I thought they did a good job of it. It was a bit campy. I mean, let's talk about the cast. Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. He looked real good as He-Man. They put him in the costume. I guess they put the blonde mullet wig on him. And he looked good as He-Man. And, Frank Langella as Skeletor. I mean, compared to what Jared Leto is going to look like in this movie, Frank Langella as Skeletor, to me, I feel the same as I did then. He looks like Emperor Palpatine on steroids, okay? He looks as if Palpatine, decided one day he was going to go to the gym and start pumping, just so he could harness more of his dark side power. But, I found it enjoyable, and I thought it was funny that He-Man's power sword was actually Conan the Barbarian's original sword from the first movie. And they used all kinds of cartoon sound effects and everything. But what they should have done with it was made it an origin story. And this new movie coming out is going to be an origin. See, they have it in this movie where He-Man's already established. But, you know, like what happened, they didn't have Prince Adam, they didn't have Battle Cat. It was like another episode of the cartoon or, you know, or another mini comic. I mean, in a way, it kind of did live up to being looking like, you know, Star Wars meets Conan the Barbarian. I mean, and then, you know, they have it where Gwildor accidentally uses his cosmic key. The whole story is about this cosmic key. That's what the story revolves around, that Gwildor invented. And Skeletor wants his hands on it so he could have the power. But what happens is, in the middle of the battle in Castle Grayskull to stop Skeletor, Gwildor accidentally sends, you know, him, He-Man, Teela, and Man-at-Arms back to Earth, down to Earth, and they don't understand our culture. You know, there they are, people think that there's some kind of circus act and everything like that, and they run into two teenagers named Kevin and Julie. I forgot the actor's name who played Kevin. He was kind of a goof in a way, but Julie was played by the now living legendary Courtney Cox, who you all know as Monica from Friends. But back in the day, her biggest claim to fame was she made her debut in Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run music video. If you ever get a chance, look that up. It shows her in the crowd during a Springsteen concert, and Springsteen pulls her out of the crowd, and he's dancing with her for Dancing in the Dark. As a matter of fact, 10 years later, she would host Saturday Night Live, and it was the 10th anniversary of her being in that video. And Adam Sandler came out as Bruce Springsteen doing Dancing in the Dark, and they did the whole dance number. But what happens is, you know, and I mean, you have a cast of others, like you've got Willie Mays playing a guy named Charlie who owns a music store, and also James Tolkien, who James Tolkien, rest in peace. You know, Principal Strickland from the Back to the Future movies as a police detective wanting to bust He-Man and his friends and not understanding, you know, what's going on. But they eventually find their way back to Eternia. They defeat Skeletor. You know that, well, spoiler, better shut this video off and then come watch this movie and then come back. They go ahead and they defeat Skeletor. And victory is won, and Lubick decides to stay because he loves the atmosphere and the environment of Eternia. So, anyway, the purpose of this video was I wanted to go ahead and, you know, make a video for this movie to do a review on it. I mean, it's very entertaining. If you've never seen it, you know, stream it, pick it up at the library, buy it wherever you can find DVDs, you know, like eBay or flea market, wherever. It's a very entertaining, it's kind of cheesy, but it's a fun movie. I recommend it highly. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and watch this weekend before I go ahead and I see the new Masters of the Universe. I can't wait. I mean, the dude who plays He-Man, oh, he's spot on, okay? I mean, it's just like the stuff. I mean, I've seen all the merch already some of the movie theaters are coming out with. They got this big popcorn bucket that looks like Castle Grayskull with 2 cups and a holder, an area in the center where you can put popcorn, and then you open up one top. You pour like M&Ms down in there, and you open the drawbridge, and it dispenses the M&Ms. I mean, this thing is like the coolest thing I ever seen in my life. And they also have a power sword cup. It's shaped like a sword, and you undo the top so you could, you know, do your drink. Whoever drank Coca-Cola out of a sword before? I mean, those are expensive as heck, but the one thing I would probably settle for is the cup that's shaped like Skeletor's face where the eyes light up. Other than that, it'd be nice to have those collectibles. It's just not in my budget. Even, you know, I can't spare $40 for a popcorn bucket shaped like Castle Grayskull. I wish I could. Maybe a few years down the road, I'll get it off of eBay or something. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and review. I wanted to tell you, if you want some old school style live action cartoon movie, here's the route to go. I mean, it's going to be cheesy, it's going to be campy, but it's going to be a lot of fun. But at any rate, that's the end of this video. And remember, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments down in the box below. Ring the bell for notifications. Tell all your friends, tell your family, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your classmates, your coworkers, your teachers, your principals, your supervisor, your pets, and come kick it old school with me. Leave comments in the box down below, ring the bell for notifications, and keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill, keep watching old school movies, listen to old school music, watch old school TV shows, play old school video games. Get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less chaos, less drama, no drama. Godspeed. May the force be with you always. Good journey, and shakalaka kapow!